Hey everybody, welcome to our live stream. My name is Bobby Omar. I'm very excited to be here. I'm the host or the founder of the TLB Club, and I'm also hosting today. We are talking about LinkedIn Mastery. Now, LinkedIn Mastery has been our signature program we've been doing on Clubhouse since the beginning of Clubhouse, and then we transferred to LinkedIn Audio, and now we moved back to Clubhouse, and we've had a series of amazing co-hosts that you see below you. And so we are ready to go, and but we decided to do a live stream this time. So we're live streaming for, I think, the first time for LinkedIn Mastery. This is kind of exciting. And you get to see the faces in person of the amazing, wonderful people that are here. So that's kind of exciting. If you are watching this, I would encourage you to comment, because if you chat, and if you share a comment in the feed, we can feature your message in the chat below. If you have something to say, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us where you're from. Are you from North America, South America, Australia, Asia, Africa, Europe? If you have questions for the panel, go for it. The topic today is LinkedIn Mastery, relationship first DMs, and social selling. And this is brought to you by the TLB Club. The TLB Club is the Thought Leadership Brand Club, which is a membership community to help business owners build their voice, build their sales and marketing, build their brands out there, build their thought leadership, and ultimately, as small business owners, not feel alone, not feel overwhelmed, not sure where to get resources and tools, and have people like amazing people in the community, have weekly coaching calls and tech clinics, and having a support group. And that's really what the TLB Club is all about. So if you want to learn more about it, click the link there. Special note, we've had the same price for a year. We're changing the price tonight at midnight, so it's going up. So if you want to lock in just for 1 month, $39, see what it's about for an entire month. And if you like it, it's no contract. If you like it, you can keep going and keep that original OG grandfathering price, or you can leave after a month, and no harm, no foul. That's all. It's totally fine. There's no contract. You're welcome to leave. So take a look at that and make sure you set that up. And a special hello to Meryl Cass, who is the godfather of the chat. I expect him to do some really great things for us as we're going along. All right, and so in the meantime, let's get into the conversation. I'm going to start with introductions, of course. So let's go to each of you to share an introduction of who you are, what you're all about, and how people can, I guess, as Roy would say, tell us a bit about what your offering is for people, how you serve customers. So I'm going to go to Roy first. Roy, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Roy Kowalski. I call myself the Promotional Product Disruptor. I'm based in Sydney, Australia. So as you can see, it's winter at the moment. I got my winter jacket on. It's 6 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. And what do I do and why do I do it? I assist small to medium-sized companies through the experience of working with Fortune 500 companies like MasterCard, YouTube, Google, LinkedIn, Canva, TikTok, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, so that I can assist them with visibility and brand awareness. One of the things that I experience on a more than regular basis is these small to medium-sized companies have the most incredible services, the most amazing products, and yet they do not know how to get in front of their dream clients. And the other thing that I've started to talk about a lot is I assist companies with preparing for trade shows and exhibitions. And what that really means is when a company wants to start to become seen, heard, and remembered in the community, they sign up for a trade show and then they're not sure what the next steps are. So that's what I do. I use LinkedIn as a means to share my story. I use LinkedIn as a means to show how I overcome challenges for my customers. But more importantly, it enables me to be able to position myself as the go-to person when people are ready to purchase, because I consistently share my story on LinkedIn. My name is Roy, and I'm out.
Thank you, Roy. Let's go to Melissa Cohen. Please share your introduction, everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Cohen. I'm a personal branding and LinkedIn strategist. I help people to find their voice, build their brand, and build their business on LinkedIn. I am in New York City, and I I like to work with solopreneurs, small business owners, people who really know that they need to leverage everything that LinkedIn has to offer, but maybe they don't know the best way to go about doing it. And I'm really excited to be here with everyone today. I'm excited for this first live stream, Bobby. I think it's a great idea.
All right, great. Let's go to Christopher Johnson.
Well, greetings. I'm Christopher Johnson, a LinkedIn top voice based in Metro Detroit. So I produce purpose-driven virtual events for nonprofits and member organizations, such as Feeding America or California WIC. So I don't just manage the virtual event. I create experiences that reflect the organization's mission. This allows them to make sure they can focus on the engagement and connecting with the audience and their message, while I take care of the tech. So my job is just to make sure everything runs smoothly so my clients can focus on their impact. And I will add my information into the chat so that if we are not connected, please reach out and do so.
Awesome. And let's go to Wendy.
I just want to make sure that I'm coming in okay because I'm having internet connection problems. And can you hear me well?
We can hear you. It's a little bit blurry, but we can hear you and see you.
Yeah, I'm having internet connections today here in Florida. So that's where I am. I'm in South Florida, originally a New Yorker. My name is Wendy Shore, rhymes with entrepreneur. I am also a LinkedIn top voice. I'm a business growth strategist, best-selling author, and I have over 25 years of real entrepreneurial experience. And I help people to grow a profitable six-figure solopreneur business. I like to help them combine AI with modern tools like AI with practices, strategies that are necessary, that don't change over time, that are the standards to grow a profitable business. I have background as a certified public accountant, and I am part of Bobby's TLB Club. I met Bobby on the old Clubhouse days, and this is sort of like full circle. Clubhouse has come around, and now here we are, live and in person, showing up not just with voice, but on film. So happy to be here and happy to contribute as I can.
Awesome. And we love the fact that people are sharing comments in the chat. So make sure you share your comments and tell us who you are, where you're from, and any questions you have for us. So, just to start out, LinkedIn Mastery was basically designed to help people with every single aspect of LinkedIn. We started 5 years ago. It's been going on for a long time. We've done probably over 1,000 episodes of LinkedIn Mastery, and we take on different topics. The topic today is something a little bit more advanced. So we're not helping you with the profile. We're not helping you with the basic setup, the basic targeting, the basic branding that we typically will help people with. We're going to focus on specifically relationship first DMs and social selling, which is a little bit more advanced, but that's why I really want to get into it. So I'm going to start actually off by throwing the question out there, and I'm of course going to put Roy on the spot because he loves it. Roy, when it comes to let's start with the first piece, which is can you define for us what exactly is social selling on LinkedIn?
Well, Bobby, I'm just going to go one step back as an example, just to maybe put things in perspective about this particular topic about LinkedIn mastery. So in those Clubhouse days, I found Bryn Tillman was running a social selling and lead generation segment on Clubhouse under the Thought Leadership Branding Club. And I went and listened in a number of times, and I started to discover there were some incredible conversations. And I then became a co-host, co-moderator in those days with her. And finally, she gave up the room, or what we called the title, and I carried on with it with a number of other Leanne Calderwood and Ilya Francis. We carried on with social selling and lead generation, and we've probably been doing it for well over 4 years. So I think I've got a little bit of an idea about this because that's what we did for all these years. So for me, And the other thing I just wanted to share was that we changed the word social selling. We changed it to social serving. We found that serving was a much better, a name that people could resonate with. So social selling for me is quite clear. It's how you interact with other people with an intention to build relationships. And there has to be some sort of intention behind this, because social selling is what it is. You want to be social, but you do want to make a sale. So instead of just flying out of the starting blocks and saying, here's my offering, you build the relationship over a period of time, using your content, using your engagement, using the DMs. And we have many, many strategies that we've spoken with and to through the years. Most of my learnings about social selling has come from my friend Bryn Tillman, who is an absolute gun. So that's how I see it, all of you, is that it's a way to be able to slowly build relationships with people, with connections, with the intention of doing business somewhere down the track. My name is Roy, and I'm out.
Thanks, Roy. I appreciate that. Melissa, what about you? I mean, can you talk a bit about how you're using social selling and on LinkedIn, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I think Roy nailed it with one word, right? Relationships. And I think so many people use LinkedIn incorrectly, right? How many of us have been the victim of, wait for it, Wendy, you know what I'm going to say, the pitch slap, right? You connect with someone, and the minute you accept their connection request, they're shooting you a DM trying to sell you something. That's the antithesis of social selling, right? Social selling is building rapport. It's building that know, like, and trust factor, right? And we do that in multiple ways. And we do it through the content that we share. We do it through engagement, right? So I am a huge fan of commenting on LinkedIn. I think commenting is every bit as powerful as content, and honestly, maybe more so. And through using DMs the right way, right? Using DMs to get to know someone better, to ask questions, to engage, maybe eventually to set up a virtual coffee or an intro call, but not to just right out of the gate try to pitch somebody the minute that you meet them. It's all about building a relationship and seeing how you can add value, right? How can you help that person as well? And it might be through the service that you offer. It might be through the product that you're selling. It might also be in a completely different way. It might be through introducing them to someone else. All of these things ultimately will lead to that rapport and that trust. And maybe they become a client. Maybe they don't. Maybe they introduce you to somebody who becomes a client. That to me is how I like to use LinkedIn.
Okay, awesome. And let's go to Christopher and see what his take is on social selling. Maybe you can tell us, why don't you give us a take on, and I'm going to adjust a little bit. What you like about it, but also what is maybe hard about it.
Well, what I like about it is building those relationships, finding common ground where it's not a one-way relationship. What can be challenging is the people who, the opposite of the pitch slap. The opposite is, I just have this one quick question. Can you answer that? I notice you're the Zoom guy. Can you just answer this quick question for me? So I'm happy to provide services. However, I should not be things that you can look up. Don't just start off the relationship with, I need something and I don't want to pay for it yet.
Right. No, I get that. And let's go to Wendy. I know Wendy likes to talk about social selling too. So do you have anything different that you might say, or are you just in agreement with our very friendly panel here?
Oh, no, I am very much in agreement. And I just want to actually circle back to one of the first things that Roy said, which is something Melissa and I were talking about today, which is selling is service, right? And so if you start thinking about it as selling all the time, people get annoyed. You're not selling to them. You are offering them something that could help change their lives, something that they want, something that they need. And don't start off with a pitch. As a matter of fact, if you are able to convey your value in such a way that either they're your ideal client and they want to hire you, you don't have to sell, or they know somebody who could use your services and they recommend you, right? And that's a whole part of the social selling process, which is the personal branding, which I'm sure we're going to hit on a little bit later because it's an integral part of it, right? So the important thing is you're not selling, you're seeing how you can be in service. And if you keep that in mind, you're never going to feel like that icky used car salesman.
Yeah, I think I agree with the idea that at the end of the day, whether you're on LinkedIn or you're on another platform or you're at a networking event or a business conference, at the end of the day, we're trying to build relationships. We're trying to build connection. We're trying to build community. And eventually, if you do a good job of that and you plant the right seeds and cultivate those seeds, they can lead to other opportunities. That's what basically networking is all about. I think that the challenge that a lot of people are just networking to sell, or just they're trying to build relationships to pitch, which is always a big problem. And so, LinkedIn. One thing I will say, LinkedIn has a very every platform, social media platform has a certain culture. LinkedIn has a culture, and one of the cultures there is they are very, very um, uh, not liking pitch slapping. So other platforms, it's easier to pitch something, but on LinkedIn, as soon as you get into any sort of thing like that, people get really, really rubbed the wrong way. And so you have to be mindful of that culture because it will blow up in your face, or it's going to be a problem because you're not going to get the result that you want. So I think it's important for us to understand that. I wanna open it up to the panel now. And we have people who are commenting. If you're commenting, which is great, we love the comments. You can ask questions of the panel. And of course, I encourage you all check out the TLB Club there and see what it's all about, because it's brought to you by TLB Club, and we are raising our prices tonight at midnight. So, and the other question I'm gonna have I talk to you guys is, we also call this relationship first DMs, which is interesting. So, tell me a bit more about relationship first. When I say relationship first DMs, can someone tell me tactically or strategically what that means? And I'm going to open up to whoever wants to kind of take this.
I'm happy to start with it because I have a particular intentional process that I use. First of all, my content, I learned some years ago that, but don't forget, I'm a product-based business and I help with, strategies, but products is my core business. I learned a long time ago that people don't want to hear, here's a product, and this is how much it is, and get hold of me. That's how much response you get from that. When I came to the realization that the way to do it is to say, my customer had this particular problem. I used these products to overcome the problem. And this was the outcome that my customer achieved through using these products. And if that resonates with you, we should be talking. And so that is the basis of where this comes from. But to answer your question, my sole purpose that I exist on LinkedIn is to engage with people's content. And there are a couple of things that are quite important to be able to get to the point where we can take it into the DMs, because that's where the relationship really starts. So some of the things that I think are really important, and as I say, we've debated this many times on the LinkedIn Mastery, social selling, serving, and lead generation, and that is when you are engaging on somebody's content and you put a full stop at the end of your sentence, what you're saying to them is no more comments, necessary. If at the end of your comments you put a question mark, what you're doing is you're inviting further conversations. You're opening up the opportunity. And so that for me is where the relationship DMs come in, is because if you can start the conversations in the comments and then get to a point where somebody says, let's take this offline into the DMs, then all of a sudden you've got a different conversation. And I might just stress that that is not the time to pitch them. That's for sure. Because if you want to close the door immediately, hit them with a pitch straight away. So that's how I see this relationships and DMs, is engaging enough to get the conversation into the DMs, to start that new conversation in the DMs, which is where the magic happens. My name is Roy and I'm out.
I'm going to open it to anybody who wants to just take over and then start sharing. What do you guys? Anyone else want to share something?
I'll share something that I think is a little bit the opposite of that, if that's okay. A personal kind of pet peeve of mine. And, you know, I know, listen, we live in an AI age, right? Everybody's looking for ways to automate, ways to make things quicker, faster, easier, and I'm on board with that. But I think something that people should be cognizant of when you're doing automation is how that DM shows up to your recipient, right? So is it getting their name wrong because of how their name is set up on LinkedIn, right? There are people that like to put like a period or some other kind of symbol in front of their name to sort of weed out that automation, right? So if your name is John and you put a period in front of the John and you get a DM that says, hi, period, John, or just hi, period, you know it's automated, and people don't like that. I've gotten automated DMs that are basically pitching me the services that I offer people. Why would I want that? It's just sort of a cautionary tale that if you're going to use automation, be careful and know that there are things that you have to watch out for, and not just let those things automatically go, because that is a sure way to kill a relationship out of the gate, is if you do something like that.
I want to sort of add to that, because yes, right, people will sell you your services and you are kind of like, did you actually read what I do? Right. And they start with, oh, I'm so impressed with what you do, you know, and then they try and pitch you, you know, that's an immediate whatever. I want to also point out, Meryl dropped a message here, and I don't know if you could bring it up, Bobby, if you see it, but chatting in the hallways during an in-person event. Yes, Wendy. So we talk about this often in some of our old live audio rooms, right? One of the best things about going to any event is the networking, right? The event hopefully has some value to it. Most don't. A few that I've been to have been extraordinary. That's actually where I got really close with Melissa, was at one of them, right? Coming up soon. But the networking. So the DMs are like networking, right? So you meet somebody in the comment section of somebody else's post, and then you continue the conversation in the DMs. And then maybe that leads to a Zoom call and a virtual coffee. And that maybe that leads to a meetup in real life, right? But it has to start with the conversation. And you build a relationship from there. And then the other thing, you know, I'm going to talk about something we just spoke about a few moments ago, which is that person that you're connecting with may not need your services. And that's okay. But if you connect with them, they may know somebody who does. Or, right, what happened to me is it led to a speaking opportunity. They'll never be my client because they just won't. But we had a great conversation, and then they invited me to speak for their group. So don't discount somebody because they're not your ideal client. Make the time to converse with people, as long as there's some sort of a synergy, right? That sounds like a word that just came from ChatGPT. I came up with it myself, I promise. As long as there's some alignment, some synergy where, you know, you have something of, you know, ideal values or something that you connected with, the reason you continued the conversation or even had the chat to begin with, doesn't always have to be business. It can be a personal relationship that develops but that could lead to business. And if it doesn't, guess what? You have a new friend or a new associate or a new acquaintance or, somebody that has entered your life in a good and positive way.
I think I'll add to that, which is this idea of, again, networking and relationship building. I mean, a big part of what I would do back like years ago, I didn't actually do my introduction, but I'll tell you that I've been a motivational speaker for 20 years. I've done 1,000 keynotes workshops across 4 continents, mostly initially on leadership, soft skill leadership. Then I became a networking guy, personal branding, thought leadership, public speaking, and TEDx talks. So now I run TLB Club. I help people in a TEDx talk guaranteed, and I still do a lot of speaking training. But in the early days, I was doing networking. And one of the things with networking I would talk about is the idea that every person is a bridge to someone or something else. So even if you plant the seed or build a connection with somebody, let's say it's Billy over there, but then turns out Billy has an uncle who works at the company you might want to work for, or maybe Billy has a cousin named Samantha, and then she actually has a connection with somebody who works at the company you want to do some training for. And so you never know, who's going to be a good connection. But they could be a connection, but they could also be a bridge. And that's why bridges can be great, because I'm willing to go into DMs and say, listen, this may not be a fit for us because, but if you know someone in your network, I'd love to, expand my network. And so next thing you know, you're expanding your network, and that can work pretty well too. So just want to point that out. I want to go to and again, I'm happy to take this wherever you guys want. If you guys want to take on a topic, you can just chat with me in the private chat. Say, hey, Bob, let's talk about this. But I'll take it in one direction, another direction, and I'll go to Chris, which is this. When it comes to DMs, is there something you do specifically that, like, what is your number one kind of go-to strategy for DMs that works for you, if there is one?
So one of the things I like to do in DMs is the voice message. So once we're connected, I leave a voice message. I try and express everything succinctly, because with voice message you have 1 minute. So think about it before you start pressing record. What is it you want to convey? What are you curious about with this connection? What is it you want to know? Where do you want the conversation to go? So curiosity, conversation, connection. I use voice for that.
Well, that's because you have the best voice, right? Everybody, write in the chat. Does he not have the best voice?
Thank you very much.
He should definitely take advantage of that. Absolutely. Now, what about you? Let's go to you, Wendy. Like, I mean, what is your go-to DM strategy as an advanced LinkedIn user?
I don't have a go-to DM strategy per se, Bobby. And I've thought about reaching out more in the DMs, because my strategy was really content that converts for inbound DMs, right? So I guess my strategy would be creating the content that results in inbound, and doing that by first figuring out, what is your offer? What are your values? What do you stand for? What's your positioning? Getting your messaging right, so it's not like spaghetti thrown to the wall. And then when you start hitting the pain points of people, when you know that what you do solves a problem for people, and you're really clear on what it is that you're solving, then people do reach out to you, right? Even if it's just not saying, oh my God, I want to work with you, but even thank you for that, that really resonated with me, or that was very helpful. And again, that starts conversations with people, which can then lead to either a client relationship or just a relationship where they know what you do and they could recommend you to somebody else.
Let's go to Melissa. Melissa, what's your take on, I mean, because look, the truth is, all of us have DM strategies, but some of us use some and some of us don't use other ones. So I wanted to kind of get a sense of, what's your main kind of strategy or tactics with DMs?
So I'm definitely aligned with Christopher in that I really like the voice DM. I'm always surprised at how many people are surprised that you can send a voice DM. A lot of people still don't know how to do it. And then obviously the next level above the voice DM is the video DM. I don't do those as much, usually because I don't like the way I look on camera, and I'm always like, oh. But if I can get past that, it is a really wonderful way to make a lasting impression. And in case you can't tell from this conversation, I talk a lot. And so I tend to go over that 1 minute mark pretty frequently with the voice note, and there's no time limit, at least that I've seen on the video. So probably should do video more. I could talk longer. But those are really a way to stand out, right? Most of us get so many DMs every day, and whether it's the voice or the video, it is definitely a way to differentiate yourself and stand out in that inbox.
Well, speaking of videos, I mean, I think that voice notes are one thing, but I know Roy likes to send video messages. Maybe you can talk a bit about that, Roy, in terms of as a DM strategy.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, so I have a particular process that I work with. So if I want to connect with some new people, generally what I'll do is I'll first go to their content and go and engage in their content a number of times, and not just with great post and well done and love your work and that sort of BS. It's got to be something meaningful. And then what I'll do is I'll send them a connection request with a note. And what I'll do in that note is I'll say, hey, Melissa, I noticed in your last post that you said A, B, C, and D. I thought this was really interesting. I'm always looking to connect with like-minded business people, so I'd welcome being connected with you. And I will probably get about a 99.9% acceptance rate from that. And then what I'll do is I'll send them a video message. And I'll say, hey, Melissa, it was so good to connect with you. I'm a consistent content creator. I hope you find my content interesting. I certainly will be following yours. I also have a company page called Out There Branding, and so on and so forth. And when I send that, I cannot believe how many people don't know about video messaging. So that's my strategy. And as I say, I get a high percentage of people accepting and then responding. Nowhere in this strategy do I offer any of my services. Zero. I don't talk about that. What I do is I tell people, more about what I do, and I refer them to my content. So that for me is a critical thing. I'm a serial user of video messaging, voice messaging, as opposed to just messages. And when people send a pitch slap to me, I immediately respond with, what are you expecting me to do? You don't know me. You've never engaged in my content. You've shown no interest in anything. Why would you want me to think about dealing with you? And I use a saying on a regular basis, is show people that you're interested in them before telling them how interesting you are. My name is Roy, and I'm out.
Yeah, and I think I'll add to this that I've sent videos messages to people. I've also sent voice messages to people. However, the general thing for me is my general DM strategy to start off with is if we're part of an event or if they viewed my profile, to me, the most powerful thing I can do is say, hey, is gratitude and just a question and nothing to do with selling. So my most popular thing I'll do is say, hey, thank you so much for viewing my profile. I really appreciate it. How are you? That's it. Complete. And then the people who respond are usually people who want to get into a pretty good conversation. And so I enjoy that aspect of that, because to me, it works out quite well to have that opportunity to talk to people, because the people who respond are the ones who want to be part of that conversation. So I do love that aspect of it. And so for me, and then the other thing I'll say is when I send a video message or a voice message, particularly because if I'm saying to a woman, I'll say, look, this is a voice message, this is a video message, a personal video message, just so that they'll feel more comfortable clicking on it and listening to what I have to say, as opposed to like worrying about whatever spam. Because not everybody knows what those things are. Oh, what is this thing with they don't know what it is. And so sometimes they freak out a little bit. So I know Kenneth's here, but I do want to get to something before he leaves. There was a commentary, and I've lost my friend. Where is she? Where? I'm trying to fit everybody in the room. Okay, there's everybody. I'm gonna fit.
I
No,
know.
but I can't fit all 6 of us. Like, why can't I fit everybody in the chat here? It's
I'm just too tall.
this is bothering me. I can't fit everybody in the group here. How do I find, like, where do I find these people? I have to figure this out. Okay, so yeah, maybe I'll put myself down. But let me start with I want to address something that's happened in the chat here. So I'm going to give this to Roy to start, and then or maybe Wendy, since Wendy brought it up. I'll bring it to Wendy. So here's something from Larry Livingston, who's listening. He says, "It is not, nor has it become, a platform for building a real business. It's a tool and nothing more." And then actually earlier he said this, which is, "LinkedIn is still somewhat of a latent platform for connecting with like-minded people 20 plus years later." And then finally, he says, "If it was a real platform for building a real business there, you'd be hundreds of folks watching this live stream." And so, what's interesting about that to me is, I'll just say briefly that I've built my entire business on this platform, and it's not immediate, and it doesn't require me to have 100,000 people liking my post or even 100 people watching my video. What it does, it's a long-term play that leads to conversations and Zoom calls and meetings. The next thing you know, I create business. But I'm gonna go to Wendy to see what her thoughts on this are.
No, I like that exactly as you just said it, Bobby. LinkedIn has changed over the years, right? And it's not where your resume goes to die anymore. It is a real platform for connecting. And Melissa and I have actually become really good friends, and we've done things in business together, but it's because of LinkedIn, right? We met because of LinkedIn. We did connect in real life, but that real life would not have happened if it wasn't for LinkedIn. And we've had speaking opportunities together, and we're launching other things that are coming in the pipeline. So I have a membership community called the Content Circle. That is because of somebody here on LinkedIn. We're helping people with content that converts. I've got clients that have reached out to me because of content. And it wasn't that they reached out to me and then the next day they hired me. They were watching my content and lurking for a while. So done right, LinkedIn is a trove of opportunity for business, but it's not immediate. It's definitely a longer term play. You don't need 100,000 followers. You need a small group of people who are very interested. And I think one of the mistakes that people make is they go chasing more followers instead of worrying about the people who are right in front of them. And one of the things I like to say is, if you have 100 people in your living room and you could sell your product to every one of those 100 people, would you look for people who are down the block? No, you're going to talk to those 100 people because they're interested in what you have and they showed up for you. So there's opportunity here. There's a lot of opportunity here. It's just a matter of knowing that it's not immediate. It does take a little bit longer. And truthfully, LinkedIn's reach has been down lately. We all know this, and we're all a little bit not happy about it, but we're hoping they're just working on their algorithms and that they'll be able to get the reach that we used to get when we put out content.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. Appreciate it. Anyone else want to take a stab at this?
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
say I've met all of you in person except for Roy through all different places, and I think there is nothing that takes the place of that. I saw Pam Lippitt yesterday, who Bobby, I don't know if you remember her from Detroit, Pam Lippitt.
Yeah.
She actually was in New York, New Jersey. So we got together. We went down to some place in central New Jersey, and it was just a great time. And I look forward to all those experiences. And I know, Roy, you and I have spoken from time to time about maybe you'll come to the left coast. I just think it's so important to have those relationships. I meet people all the time, and you just never know where it's going to go.
I wonder if I could maybe just say something on the back of what Kenneth has just said. The person spoke about LinkedIn the way they just say that it's the most incredible platform if you use it properly, and how you use it is important. I'm in Australia. I'm a product-based person. I've built my personal brand based on how I solve and overcome challenges for people. Number one. Number two, I've made friends around the world that I can rely on at any time. And that is only because I have a sole direction with my LinkedIn journey, and that is to build genuine and authentic relationships. And the only way you can do that is to keep showing up with content and engagement that helps others, doesn't serve yourself. The minute you try and serve yourself, you change the whole dynamics of LinkedIn. So I'm not a LinkedIn trainer, and yet so many times I find people thinking that that I know more about LinkedIn than the average person, which is incorrect. All that's happened is I've made it my purpose on LinkedIn to build these relationships, to spend time nurturing them. And the way it works in the end is that on a more than regular basis, and of recent, I'll just give you one example. Somebody reached out to me 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and said, we've been following your content for the last 4 or 5 years, and now we are ready to purchase. When can we have a conversation? And I asked them, I said, but like, I didn't even know you existed. You haven't engaged in any of my content. And the answer was, we've been watching your content all these years. So therein lies the magic of LinkedIn, showing up regularly, consistently creating content, engaging in other people's content. And if you can tick these boxes, then what happens? You start positioning yourself as the go-to person and people when people are ready to purchase. My name is Roy, and I'm out.
I agree wholeheartedly. My last few clients I met first on LinkedIn. And it was a similar situation where they followed me for a while. And when they were ready to make a purchase of my services, they reached out and said, "Hey, do you have this date available? I want to hire you for this event." Uh, so, hey, new business? Absolutely. And I was just having a discussion recently with a coworker about the use of LinkedIn. Someone made a comment about LinkedIn in the office, and this person replied, "Well, that's that tool that you use when you're looking for a job." And I paused the conversation and said, "Well, it's just the opposite. It's that tool you use all the time so that when you are looking for a job, you have a network of people who know, like, and trust you. So don't wait until you know, network all the time, not just when you need something."
I don't think we can underestimate what a few of us have been talking about, right? Which is that silent community. And there was just a whole report that came out. I think it was co-sponsored by Edelman and LinkedIn, and it was looking from a B2B perspective, not a B2C, but I think the same thing applies. That the average buyer is not making themselves known until they are ready to buy. And I think we've all experienced that, right? I can't tell you, I live in New York City, right? So I run into people all the time that live here or come here for work or vacation. And sometimes people will say, "Oh my God, I love the stuff you're posting on LinkedIn." And I'm thinking, "You do? I didn't even know you were on LinkedIn. I've never seen, like, you've never even liked one of my posts." And then they'll say, "Oh yeah, I love when you talked about XYZ." And they're giving very specific examples. So I know they are reading what I'm writing. We just don't know they're there. But you have a whole silent community that is reading your content. They're clicking links that you're sharing. They're watching what you're doing. And when the time is right, they are going to make themselves known to you. I've absolutely had the same experience as you, Christopher, where somebody will reach out to me and say, they want to work together, and it's the first time I've ever seen their name. So don't discount that. LinkedIn is truly a long game.
Appreciate that. And I also saw another comment here. What if there's different platforms that focus on nurturing the actual users instead of focusing the ad buyers that LinkedIn depends on to pay the bills? Just thinking out loud. So here's my take on that. My initial influence grew on Twitter. And I started getting business from there. And then I started building influence on LinkedIn, Facebook, of course, and then later on Instagram. The truth is all these platforms have ads. And there is a direct relationship that can be positive to ads. Targeted ads can lead to building your business if done right. Organic traffic and social media building can lead to great business if done right. So what's important to understand is that whatever platform you're on, we are all dealing with AI challenges. We are all dealing with ads that fill in the platform no matter what it's on. But that's why it's so important to have strategy, to build relationships, to build communities in an organic way that leads to trust. And the truth is, the truth is, 10% of people it's like that iceberg. 10% of people on the top are engaging in content. The other 90% are just lurking and never say anything. And there's probably another 20% who might receive your targeted ads but never say anything either. But there's people below the surface who will eventually pop up out of nowhere, and next thing you know, they're sharing insights and they're sharing knowledge, and that's kind of how it becomes pretty impactful. So I just wanted to kind of make that point because I think it's important for us to understand. I understand the frustration. It sounds like people are frustrated with the ads, with the AI and everything else. Certainly, and there are platforms like that, but almost every social media platform I've seen, whether it's a casual conversation or it's a place to present and sell things, there's always going to be this challenge of the ads getting in the way of the clutter and the people who are real, the bots, and all that kind of stuff. So just want to kind of make that point.
I put this in the chat, but if you follow Kevin Turner, which he really, there you go. He talks about like LinkedIn was profitable from day one, and they do follow the money. They are a business, right? And we are on their rented land, so we're subject to their whims and what they decide that they want to do and their algorithms. Which is, another conversation for another day. We'll talk about the importance of also building your own land. But yes, they do put stock first in what makes them money, right? And so we're navigating the waters around, so we're watching out for the rocks and we're trying not to capsize the boat. But the truth is that I've been on Instagram, I've been on Facebook, right? And to me, building a business, LinkedIn, there are people here, they are watching. A lot of times they're not commenting either because they don't know what to say. I've seen CEOs get nervous trying to post or comment on LinkedIn. They don't really comment, but they are even afraid to post. Or maybe it's because of their job. Like in the situation, Ken helps people to find, jobs with their resume. They're not going to be commenting on his post if they're employed someplace else because they're afraid of it. So there's a lot of reasons that people don't comment. And there's a lot of reasons why we're not getting reach. But at the same time, you have multiple people here that are saying like there is definitely a way to build your business. It's just the right strategy that works for you. And sometimes it's trial and error and A/B testing to find your way. But there is definitely a way, and it is a great platform to get clients and build your business. And I love it.
Awesome.
You know what? You give us something to talk about, Larry, so we actually appreciate you.
That's right. You're helping us with content stuff. All right.
Yes.
You can't see me. You just hear a voice out there. So, because I'm trying for the life of me to fit all of us on the screen. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm glad to have people there. I do want to mention, and maybe I will try to visualize myself here. Let me just bring myself back here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. There I am. So I just want to say, guys, that this is brought to you by the TLB Club. It's a membership community. I encourage you guys to check out what we're all about. If you click the QR code, you'll see what it is. But essentially, we are a membership community. There are many of them out there. We are focused on helping small business owners, side hustlers, consultants to not feel alone, to not feel overwhelmed, to have a place with access to resources and tools and templates and worksheets, to have accountability and focus, to have other people who are going through the similar things they're going through. So we have weekly coaching calls, we have weekly tech clinics, we have monthly LinkedIn clinics, we have a private WhatsApp group, we launched a private new heartbeat group, and it's really a place for you to help you on your journey, whether you're working on sales, marketing, branding, business, mindset, whatever it might be. I encourage you to check out the TLB Club. Our price is going up tonight at midnight. It's currently $39 a month. So if you, in no contract, you can basically join for $39, check it out, go to 4 coaching calls, 4 tech clinics, 4 master classes, check out our library of 200 masterclass sessions with guest experts in the last couple of years, and you can see the value of the community, the people that are there. And if you don't like it at the end of the month, you're welcome to leave, no questions asked. But if you do like it, you will then have locked in your price, grandfathered in forever, no matter how high the price becomes. So price goes up tonight midnight. I just want to point that out. If you're interested, please do check it out. Now, I also am mindful of people's time. We have a few more minutes. So in terms of the conversation, of the questions that are coming up, I mean, we had some really great conversation here, which is awesome. So, you know, is there something that we haven't covered in the conversation today guys, that you want to discuss regarding relationship versus DMs and social selling?
Bobby, I wanted to maybe just make a point around this aspect of the engagement that's fallen off, which we all know. So what I've done to what I call combat it is I've gone deeper into those that are engaging rather than try and go wider. And what that means is I'm spending more time looking for people that are engaging on my content for the first time, and then spending some time with that rather than trying to get as many people as possible. So my strategy has changed from just going about my LinkedIn journey to going deeper rather than wider. My name is Roy and I'm out.
Anybody else want to share?
I was going to say, I like that, Roy, right? It's about building taking it off the platform and just building deeper relationships. Yes.
I think the reach piece is a double-sided coin, right? I'm as frustrated as everyone else. And when I think about it, I'm not sure it's entirely as bad as we think it is. Like, look, if your content's not reaching anybody, that's a problem. I look back at numbers I used to have that were massive. I mean, I had really high impressions on every single post. Didn't really matter what I put out there. But my business is actually stronger now than it was then. So while reach is important because you need to reach people, I still maintain that I would rather have 1,000 people see my post that might want to work with me, might know someone who wants to work with me or finds value in what I'm sharing, than 50,000 people who are just going to scroll by and do nothing. Because especially that impression number is really just a vanity metric, and it doesn't really do anything for you past a certain point. Like, of course, I understand people are getting 100, 200, 300 views on a post. Yes, I get that that's a problem. But I don't think we have to necessarily be back to the old days. I think there's a middle ground and understanding when impressions are valuable and when they're not.
Well, let me just say then that, you know, my last comment on this is like, you know, worrying about how your posts do and engagement, again, engagement is down on every platform as well as LinkedIn, and that's the way it is. I can tell you this, though. I have never got a client from a post, ever. I don't care. My biggest post was 3.7 million impressions. I've also had ones that went to 1 million. I've also had ones that have been 200,000, 300,000, 70,000, 50,000. I never once got a client from them. I get clients because I'm consistent. I have a clear brand out there. and I have DM conversations, and I run events that lead to people wanting to book calls with me, which then leads to business. And yes, there's the other person that says, I like your stuff. Great. The truth is, no matter who you talk to at any event, they're going to check out your profile. They're going to check out your content. If you have good stuff, that's going to silently build trust in them with you when you do reach out with a DM. So I think it's important for everyone just to do that, try that, keep that going, and it's going to work well for you, right? So we all have to do that in all our platforms, but ultimately at the end of the day is you want to reach people, you want to have a consistent brand, you want to build that trust, and that's why the topic today was really about social selling, social serving, relationship-based DMs, because that's the advanced tactics that most of us who are using, who actually are building and running profitable, sustainable businesses on LinkedIn. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're not posting to sell. We post for our brand. We post about our expertise. We post to tell stories that connect to people on a deeper level. But to me, the selling is a longer term play. So I know. Yeah,
100%. So I just want to address like Gregory's comment that he knows people whose reach is down 75 to 80%. So is mine. And you know what? I have more revenue this year than I did last year. I'll take that. I'll take that equation, because likes don't pay the bills.
Like there are people who post, I posted and got all this feedback, and oh my gosh, I landed 2 clients. Look, I've been on LinkedIn. I'm one of the first million users, and I have 55,000 followers. I'm a LinkedIn top voice. I've never once gotten a client from a post, ever. But so don't worry if it's down. What are you doing outside of that? Because the other thing, like, what are you doing outside of that to build relationships, to build trust, for people to know, like, and trust you? Because the truth is, some of you out there you're not trusted. Some of you out there are not known, and some of you out there, sorry to say, you're not liked. So you have to find a way to know what your brand is and put it out there so you can actually build those things, and it goes a long way. So,
Bobby, before you end, there's one question I want to ask you. Somebody asked, should we approach with a more friendly or professional? Which works the best? So I'm going to give it to you to answer that.
My general rule is this: it's the polite, professional. Polite and professional are both nice things to be. Like they can work together. If I say thank you so much for reading my profile, how are you? That's friendly and is professional. If I say thanks so much for the connection, I'm curious to know what about my profile got your attention, because I think it's always good to get feedback. What do you think? And I'm just chatting with people in a friendly but professional manner. So I think you can do both. That's what I would say to that. I know we're over time, guys, so I want to be mindful of time. Thank you so much for watching the live stream. I want to thank my fellow speakers here, and I'm gonna remove myself again because I just feel bad that I'm. There we go. Okay, I'm gone. There's Christopher. There's Christopher. Okay, he's in the head. Check out the QR code because the price is going up tonight at midnight. I hope you will take a look at that, please. And I want to thank the speakers here. LinkedIn Mastery is every week on Clubhouse at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. We did this LinkedIn Mastery live stream just for something different, but I'm grateful for Roy, Kenneth, Wendy, Melissa, and Christopher. And if you watch the replay, this will be available on LinkedIn. And actually, we're streaming everywhere. We're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. So this is everywhere. So hopefully you'll check this out. You follow these speakers, check out their links in the comment, connect with them, follow them. And if you have any questions about TLB Club, please do reach out to us. And you're welcome to come to one of our weekly Thursday master classes. It's open to the public. They're every Thursday at 4 p.m. and you can learn more about it by clicking the link. So click the link, go to the events section, you'll see what it's all about. All right, thank you guys. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll see you guys soon.